Hi, everybody. It's episode 490 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It's Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. I am Chris. With me is Drootin.
Hello.
And Walnut.
I'm here.
Are you, though?
Kind of.
Maybe?
50-50. Like, I've got all my recording done for the day after we're done this, so, like, that's a thing. But, like, also...
So you can just go to bed afterwards. Get a good night of sleep for a change.
You know, that's honestly a possibility. I've been falling asleep all day. I haven't been going to bed I haven't been sleeping very well today, so it's a possibility.
Do it. It's good for you.
It's not going to happen.
10 o'clock bedtimes, man.
No, I hate that. I can't get to sleep at 10 o'clock.
You can if you try.
I don't want to try. I just want to go to bed at 12:30, 1 o'clock, and fall asleep.
Nah, that's not how you do it.
There's no worse feeling than having to close your eyes and sit there with your eyes closed and not being able to sleep. I've tried it before. It's not fun.
There are plenty of worse feelings. You experienced one of them, like, just today.
I mean, do I, though? Like, did I? That's not that bad of a feeling. Like, pain is pain. Not being able to sleep and closing your eyes and not being able to sleep, that sucks.
No, see, I love just laying in bed with my eyes closed.
Why?
Why not? It's relaxing.
No. It's more stress-inducing because I'm not asleep. I could be doing things.
That's not how I function.
If I'm not doing things, then I'm wasting time. Then when I'm also just vegging out watching TV and watching the same things a million times because I'm just out of it and disassociating, I'm also feeling shitty for myself because I'm not doing things.
Man, being in your head is scary.
Try being there for more than 5 minutes.
I don't think I will.
No, it's why do you think I got fidget toys? Because at least I'm doing something even when I'm not doing anything.
But are you?
I mean, not really, but
fidgeting is not really even a step above laying in bed with your eyes closed and relaxing.
Yeah.
but the thing is, like, I'll be using my fidget toys while I'm recording this or Brose or working as well, because it's just like...
Have you considered just paying attention to the thing you're doing?
No. Who does that? Who pays attention to it?
Everybody but you.
Nah. People don't pay attention.
You don't pay attention.
Your face doesn't pay attention.
I finally had that thing happen that always happens to you, where, like, it logs me out of my Gmail account for no good reason after I've already had them open for like 5 minutes.
I'm not gonna say that it didn't happen to me yet, but it didn't happen to me yet, so we'll see what happens.
I haven't been on the computer since last week because I was off, and then this week I've been out the last 2 days, like out at clients. So like,
Cobb, I get Christmas break. God damn it, Cobb! Why'd you have to say something?
I take Christmas break. I don't get Christmas break. Like
Why'd you have to say something?
I take the week between Christmas and New Year off.
I should have taken yesterday off. Because I had off today, and I had off Monday. There's no reason to...
Actually, that is very true. Yeah. You would have been better off just taking the day off.
Yeah.
Your thing just got logged out, though?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's all your fault.
Hey, man, you did it.
I did nothing.
You should have preemptively logged into your Google account before we started recording.
It's only the OneQuest account that logs me out. Only the OneQuest account.
Well, you only open it once a week, right?
I mean, yeah, but...
That's probably why.
I can go into and open up the Brose one, and it's not going to have logged me out at all. I can go and check my Brose email and everything.
Is that Gmail also?
Yeah.
Is it at gmail.com?
It's at Gmail. It's not at...
So that's why we have an actual domain linked with ours, so it forces you to do a little more security. But we also have a little more flexibility with what we can do. Because why not, right?
I don't think that...
No, it is. Like, I can go in there and do all sorts of stuff. I can make you aliases.
Shit, what's her name? Electra.
Jennifer Gardner.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, that's it, Jennifer Gardner.
I could make you an alias called Electra. Could be anyone that emails Electra at one-quest.com, and it could go to you.
We just all gotta be different aliases from Alias.
I've never seen the show, in any real way.
Neither have I.
I know it's a J.J. Abrams joint.
Yes.
Before he was J.J. Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
He was just Jonathan Abrams.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't know either. I just picked a name that had J in it.
And you picked the same name twice?
Yeah, why not? It's the same initial.
True. Speaking of JJ.
Jeffrey Jacob Abrams.
I was speaking of JJ, I defeated J.K. Simmons in Baldur's Gate.
Did he voice somebody?
He voices one of the main villains.
Nice.
Nice.
That you don't see until almost 2/3 of the way into the game. You don't meet the main villains of the game until you technically could finish the game right there at that point.
I feel like that's not like the most uncommon thing, right? Like,
but that would be only 2/3 of the content. There's still one act left after you meet him and fight him and everything. There's still a whole act left that you could just skip by doing one thing, but it ends up being a TPK if you do that thing.
A TPK?
Total party kill?
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before. Like, I've never heard that as an acronym before.
Well, it's a lot of, it's tabletop things, but
because the nerd stuff, I get it.
Yeah. There's a main quest line where you have to go infiltrate a tower in Baldur's, and one of the side characters, spoiler alert for anyone who's playing Baldur's Gate, I mean it's been out for 6 months. But one of the characters ends up basically being a nuke. He absorbed the power of a god into him, and it's one of your playable characters. And you then, at one point, the god, she's like, yeah, you know what? We need to stop this, so you should use this power that you've been holding back. But it's going to kill you and everyone around you. And so you can, the instant you meet all three villains are in the same spot at the same time, right before you fight the final fight with J.K. Simmons. And you could just have him go, all right, I'm going to blow up, and basically end the game right there.
I mean, why not, right? You should get a new, like copy your save and do it and see what the ending is.
I need to see if I still have an autosave for right before there, because I do. I've been thinking of doing that. I kind of want to go and just do that real quick. But I don't think I have an autosave from there. I think it's been too long, or not too long, but I think I've saved over enough at this point that I might not have that anymore.
Well, you need to, I don't know, start a new save?
No.
Is that what we do?
No. That ain't happening. That ain't fucking happening.
Live dangerously, man.
I am not playing this game by myself again for at least 6 months after I beat it.
I like how, like, that's your threshold. I'm not doing it again for 6 months.
At least 6 months, though. Like, if not more. Like,
it's okay, though, because you'll have 30 other RPGs to play in that time.
This game is so long and can be so frustrating. I have a TikTok coming out where I'm going to explain the frustration of apparently you can't do control, or what was it, hold person on somebody when you can like kind of see them through the crevice of a hole, but you can shoot a fireball through a wall 3 times.
I mean that tracks.
No, it doesn't. And the fight that the control person. Like, the control person, me not making that because because I went to go use the control person, I had to step away, they had an opportunity attack. That's fine. Or hold person, that's fine. But the 3 fireballs 3 turns in a row from an enemy who's on the ground floor and I'm on the 3rd floor, and the ground floor outside on top of that, and is shooting a fireball directly through the wall into an enemy, into my character's on the 2nd floor, and my characters on the 3rd floor are getting affected by it. Fuck you. That's not how this works.
It could be, though.
No, it's not. That's not how Fireball works. Fireball is you shoot a beam, or you shoot a miniature fireball to a point, and once it reaches that point, it expands and explodes. But it does wrap around walls to an extent, but in order for it doesn't go through walls. And it went through a wall to hit my character, and it went through the floor to hit the characters on top of it. So mad. So mad. So mad. Because I would have won that fight.
Oh, it's funny, though.
And
like, it's not, but it is.
I lost like 2 hours, because... And I didn't really lose 2 hours, because to get from where my last autosave was to that point, it might not take that long now that I'm not going to be exploring as much, but maybe it will. But, like, I didn't know I was getting into a fight at the time that I did. It was a complete accident. Had I known I was going to get into a big fight, I would have saved beforehand. The autosaves don't happen frequently enough in this fucking game, and it pisses me off. It really does.
It's funny, I didn't have any trouble with that stuff. Granted, you've played far more than I have, but...
Autosaves happen beyond that happen when you pass a threshold, like when you pass a point on the map. So you can, like, and I guess like it's a horizontal or vertical point on the map, but like if you pass that point again, it doesn't re-autosave. So if you're on a wide map and you're looking around north and you then go to the south, and at those times that you're moving up north and then going south, heading upwards, you would have autosaved, and then heading to the east, you would have autosaved, and then like going back down, crossing that plane that you already crossed, there's no autosave there that time. Even if you've fast traveled or like loaded into different screens or whatever, like the game should autosave every time you load. It really should. Every time it loads, it should autosave, and it doesn't.
You know, like that's valid. That's a valid complaint. Like even the fucking Mario RPG does that.
Yeah.
But what's on the agenda?
On the agenda, Chris, you watched a bunch of movies. Drew, you read a book.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really do anything new this week, so we're going to talk about kind of old stuff. My Long Dark series ended, and so we're going to do a little bit of a wrap-up on that and talk about me playing Subnautica, because I've been playing that for the first time on my new series.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched some movies on New Year, as we do. We didn't watch as many because we unfortunately had people over.
Well, having people over on New Year's and I didn't even get an invite?
It was her dad.
Still. Rude.
Yeah. Well, you know. Well,
I see how it is. You don't like me. I see how it is.
It ruined our New Year's. It didn't really, but like, you know, I like just being home, watching TV, and eating a bunch of fancy snacks.
Yeah, I get that. My New Year's, I ended up not feeling good. I streamed for 13 hours on New Year's. Because I started at 11 o'clock.
I did see that. I saw like your update at one point where you're like, I'm still live if anyone wants to come like play Mario Kart.
Yeah, so I started at 11 o'clock, and probably around 4:30 I started to not feel good. And that was around when I was supposed to stop and get ready for my party that I was supposed to go to. And like, I just continued to feel like kind of worse and worse, and then a little bit better and a little bit better. And it was just like, you know what? I think I'm fine. I think this is nothing. But if it is contagious, I don't want to bring it to a party with a bunch of people. So I'm just going to stay home. And it was nothing. It was because I didn't eat properly that day or something, I'm sure. Because I'm old. And so if I don't eat right, I get fucked up. So yeah, I ended up just streaming from 11 o'clock. And then like, it was like 8. And I'm like, I'm just going to go all night. I'm just going to go until New Year's. And
yeah,
around
like, why
11,
not?
Yeah, and it was like at 11 o'clock I'm going to switch to something fun, because also, not that Baldur's Gate isn't fun, but at 11 o'clock that'll have been 12 hours of Baldur's Gate. I need something else. So I'll switch to Mario Kart. People can join. I had some friends join me, and I set up a countdown timer on stream for once midnight hit.
Which, you know, like that's a fun thing to do.
Yeah. If I had planned it better, I might have had like a little bit more like fanfare on my stream. But like, again, I was supposed to go to a party that started at 8 o'clock, and I decided at 7 that I wasn't going to the party, so I didn't have time to set anything up.
Fair.
But your movies.
Yeah, so we ended up watching 3 movies. We watched 2 kind of in the early afternoon before people came over, and then 1 after they left just before midnight. None of them were especially like exciting, I guess is the best way to put it. They were mostly just like, we were looking for like just kind of light stuff. Normally on New Year's we would have watched like from like dinner time until like just before midnight. We would have watched like bigger movies that we just didn't get to this year, like Across the Spider-Verse, Fast and Furious 10, like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get that this year though. But so the first thing we watched was a movie on Hulu called Quiz Lady, which Drew may actually be the only movie that you ever like the concept of, but you wouldn't have enjoyed the movie.
What makes you say that?
So like the basic setup is the main character, who's played by Aquafina, is like a nut for a quiz show, like a Jeopardy style quiz show that incorporates a little bit of like goofiness too.
Okay.
That like she has literally been watching since she was like a small child and is really, really good at. So like one of the early scenes of the movie is her literally at home as an adult, glued to her TV, answering every single question faster than the people actually on the show. And her sister ends up like filming her and like putting it on like TikTok or something. And she gets like internet famous for a little while. And that leads to her getting a call to audition to be on the show. And the whole purpose behind her even doing it is to win the money to pay off they're gangsters that run a dog shelter. Because their mom had run up a large tab with them. And their mom was currently on the run from her nursing home. So, like, that part of the movie gets a little stupid and you would not enjoy it. But, like, I think the quiz show stuff is right up your alley.
True.
Yeah. But it was fine. Like, it was a little formulaic because you kind of knew, like, the sisters did not get along. There was a big age gap between them. The older sister was sort of a train wreck. The younger sister just wasn't going anywhere in life. And, like, her only thing were these quiz shows. And, like, there was the standard disagreement between the two of them where they kind of, like, go their separate ways, and then they realize that they need each other, and they come together at the end, and all, like, very, very traditional setup for that. But, like, some of the jokes and the quiz stuff was actually pretty funny. Despite the quiz host being Will Ferrell, which is usually just a big red X for me. But he was in it so infrequently that I didn't mind.
Fair.
Man, you need better taste in comedy.
Well, I didn't say this was a great comedy.
Well, no, I'm saying not liking Will Ferrell. Like, you need better taste in comedy because he's great.
He's not, though.
He is.
His movies are not.
Anything he's been in is better than Groundhog Day.
No.
Yes.
I like 2 Will Ferrell movies, and I don't like him in either of them.
And you like Groundhog Day, so
more than every Will Ferrell movie.
Exactly.
Like, I just don't think he's funny, and plenty of people don't. Like, I think he is best when he's not being the caricature that he plays in everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in this, he was not that caricature, and it worked. And a lot of stuff, though, like, he's that same stupid character that he was, like, in The Office, and Old School, and Step Brothers, and all those movies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, this was one of those, Quiz Lady was one of those, it's totally fine, but nothing to write home about. Formulaic, but whatever. The second one we watched was A Haunting in Venice, which is the third of Kenneth Branagh's Hercule Poirot movies that he's been making over the last, like, 6 or so years. So it's a sequel to Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, like the Agatha Christie novels. In this one, it's 10 years after Death on the Nile, and he is retired in Venice. Not taking cases, just kind of living his life, getting pastries delivered twice a day. Good stuff. And then he gets an invite to a seance, which is just weird. And the movie ends up being... It leans a little bit into, like, some horror tropes, which I thought was interesting because the other 2 movies did not. But it's still like a whodunit at the end of the day. And I think these movies, like, while they're based on very old books, they're still generally pretty well done. Like, the casting is usually good. Kenneth Branagh as Poirot is actually really good. Kenneth Branagh is Gilderoy Lockhart, in case you don't know, from the Harry Potter movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he directed the first Thor.
And when does Hill House come into this?
It doesn't. We're in Venice.
Yeah, Haunting in Hill House.
No, the Hill House was in America.
Yeah, but, like, Hill House is all over the place, isn't it? Like,
No. So
the second one.
No. So it's a haunting in Hill House, the haunting of Bly Manor in England, and now a haunting in Venice. Like, this is all part of the Flanagan verse.
Yeah, so, like, this were all the same actors in this as in Hill House, and, like, that's how that show went, right? I don't remember how it goes. I thought it was supposed to be anthology. But
actually, the haunting show. So most of the Flanagan stuff, just to segue, that is what he does. He does that, like, if he likes working with somebody, he just keeps hiring them.
Yeah.
And then, like, he'll hire different people, and if he likes working with those people, he'll hire them to be in, like, the next thing. Mm-hmm. Which, like, works out usually, because, like, you start recognizing the people in the things. You're like, okay, they were good in the last thing. Like, they will probably be good in this thing.
Yeah.
In this case, though, much like Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express, other than Hercule, everybody else is different.
Mm-hmm. So, like,
no characters really like carry on between the two because they're all very, like, they're set in whatever they are. Like, everyone. The first 2 in particular were, like, people going somewhere. So the first one was a bunch of people on the Orient Express going to wherever that train went. And it just turns out that a lot of them had some sort of connection back to the person that was murdered. So that's where all that stuff kind of comes in, and that's where the whodunit part of it comes in. Death on the Nile is, I think it's like a wedding party, if I remember correctly. So like everybody is connected somehow, but there's a couple people that are not connected through the wedding. They just happen to be on the boat, but knew the people. So like that's where that side comes from. And this one is actually everyone kind of knows each other in one way or another, but no one really likes each other.
Yeah.
But I thought that like the ending and finding out like what was actually happening was actually pretty cool in this one, because I didn't expect it. I thought it was the kid. There's a kid in this movie. The kid's fucking creepy as shit. He seems to control the father, like his father.
The kid. It's always the kid, even when it's not. It's always the kid.
But like this kid was so creepy right up to the very end. The kid's very last scene, after you know who done it, was still fucking creepy. But it wasn't him. Like, spoilers, it wasn't the kid. It was somebody else, and I didn't expect who it was. But
I mean, it probably, the kid at the end of it, you missed the post-credit scene where the kid turned around and was like,
it could. You know what? It could have been. You never know.
It's like that movie Identity, man. It's like the movie Identity.
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Is it called Identity? Let me just double check and make sure it's called Identity before I start slandering a name called Identity. Movie 2003. Yes, the John Cusack movie.
Oh, okay. I do remember that movie.
Yeah, where like they're all personalities in somebody's head, and
right.
One of them is a murderer. One of the personalities is a murderer, and it ends up being like they all end up stuck in a hotel fighting each other for some reason. And it was like, I don't know. It's like a two-world thing, and it ends up being the kid was the murderer the whole time, and he ended up killing the person who survived because you didn't think he did, or he ended up surviving with the person who survived, and they just thought it was a child, and it ended up being a murder. It was a weird movie with probably most definitely a terrible display of what DID is actually like, but it was the kid.
That does sound like a... I vaguely remember that movie, and I feel like it was not a good movie.
7.5 on IMDb, 63 on Rotten Tomatoes. So
okay, so it's not the worst movie.
It's an average movie. It wasn't. It just the way they handle DID in general is just bad,
which is common for everything all the time
and everything. Yes.
But yeah, this movie was I would actually recommend watching A Haunting in Venice if you've liked the previous two movies. Mm-hmm. If you didn't like them, then you're not going to like this one either.
I've never seen them. I will be 100% honest. All three of these movies I've never heard of.
I have talked about both of them in the past, so way to pay attention.
No. All three of these movies you're talking about today.
Oh, I thought you meant...
Lady, Haunting in Venice, and the next one. I feel like I might have heard of the next one. I don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've not heard of any of these movies.
Man.
Definitely Quiz Lady and Haunting in Venice, for sure.
Man, get connected, man. A Haunting in Venice actually it was in theaters in September.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a new movie.
If it's not superheroes or giant monsters fighting each other, it does not peak.
Get better interests.
Godzilla Minus One is a fantastic movie.
Sounded bad when you explained it to us.
No, it's fantastic, man.
It's probably worse than all three of these movies.
No. God, no. I doubt that. I highly doubt that.
I guarantee I enjoyed all three of these more than I would enjoy a Godzilla movie.
It's because you have bad taste in movies.
No. But yeah, so the last one is No Hard Feelings,
mm-hmm.
which is a bad comedy. It was mediocre at best. It stars Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
Katniss, right?
Yeah. I'm saying it. I'm just Jennifer that is her name, right?
There's 16 Jennifers in Hollywood. So when you're trying to guess which Jennifer and questioning Jennifer, I'm like, it could be Aniston, it could be
because
Hudson,
it's the slightly younger one. She basically plays kind of a not a deadbeat because she does work multiple jobs, but she's not really going anywhere. She's kind of an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
One of her jobs is Uber driving, and her car gets repossessed because she's behind on her bills.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole movie is she needs a car. So she takes a job from Matthew Broderick and his wife to to date their 19-year-old son before he goes to college, because he's like the nerdy shut-in who like doesn't go out, doesn't have friends. Like they basically want him to go like experience being a teenager before he's in college. But like most of the reason he's the way he is because of their helicopter parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super formulaic, super predictable. Like the cast was good. Like the actual friendship that builds between the two, like as the movie goes on, like seemed actually realistic once you get past the super cringy stuff up front. But then they have like the very predictable, like quote unquote misunderstanding in the middle that kind of like they stop talking for a little while sort of thing when like he finds out she was hired essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely it's one of those movies where like if it's on TV, it's probably like good background noise if there's literally nothing else, but it's not worth actually sitting down and watching. The only reason we put it on was because it was the exact amount of time we needed till midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just happened, like we were scrolling through Netflix looking for something, and it just happened to be like literally like it finished 1 minute before midnight.
Look, when you look up the cast list and look up the movie on Google, and the seventh cast member listed, the character's name is Hot Guy, that tells me all I need to know about the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, was not the worst one, and it did away with, like, the cringy stuff. Like, it made it very clear that it also understood that stuff was not good, and kind of, like, moved on from it as quickly as it could, considering it was the initial plot of the movie. But, like, it was still one of those, like, you could have done almost anything else, but you didn't. And, you know, I mean, good for you for trying. Like, D- for effort, I guess. You don't fail.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're not getting on honor roll for this one.
It sounds like you didn't pick the best movies for your New Year's movie marathon.
Well, no, because we normally start with, like, the dumb, like, light stuff that we can just kind of, like, we can do other stuff while we're watching. Because, like, you know, like, there's stuff during the day you want to do. Like we have to get ready, like cut up the cheese, all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to put on like a 2.5 hour movie. We're putting on like hour-long movies, hour-and-a-half long movies, so that like we could take a break between, take the dogs out, like do the house stuff that we normally have to do before like settling down and watching the good stuff. We just never got to watch the good stuff because people ruin the good stuff.
Why'd you invite people?
He's got a point there.
We didn't. Like...
obviously you didn't, because none of us were there, so...
So, they kind of invited themselves, and Erica is very bad at saying no. So, like, she's like, okay, sure. And I'm just standing there like, what the fuck? And even, like, the next day, she's like, what? Like, I'm bad at saying no when people, like, put me on the spot like that. Because it very much was like we were talking about what our plans were for New Year's. And, like, they said their plans, and they were like, yeah, we bought, like, a bunch of, like, snacks and stuff like that, and we're gonna just hang out at home and, like, watch movies. And they were just like, oh, is that, like, an invitation? It's like, well, no. Like, what part of that sounded like an invitation? But, yeah. So, that's, man, it was a bummer. I'm just gonna say that. So, it was a set of 3, like, A Haunting in Venice, again. I had a good time with that one. That one was not a bad movie. While I'm not like the biggest fan of whodunits, I think these ones are fun. I think a lot of it is because like they have good eclectic casts and it's very classic stories. The other two were just kind of mediocre comedies. Like they had their funny moments, but they were also pretty predictable in like what beats they were going to hit. So, you know, could have been worse.
Yeah.
But Drew, you read a book about boys and knights.
And emo, because I'm an emo sad boy.
This all tracks.
It does. Where Are Your Boys Tonight? The Oral History of Emo's Mainstream Explosion from 1999 to 2008. By Chris Payne. He used to work for Billboard, got fired during the pandemic, and was like, I'm going to write this book. And it's a collection of interviews with like a whole hell of a lot of people involved in the like emo scene in that time frame, from band members like Pete Wentz and Patrick Stump and Gabe Saporta to just like kind of other like bloggers, other journalists, record label people, pretty much you name it. Like some level of people at every level of the scene have at least a couple lines somewhere in this book.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Were there any, like, notable or memorable stories?
There were a few. I made a note in my phone of a couple interesting tidbits. Way back before, or like as Dashboard started, Chris Carrabba played in Newfound Glory for a tour.
Really?
Yeah, because Chad was in a different band that was also doing a tour at the same time Newfound Glory was about to do their first tour. So he couldn't do the Newfound Glory tour, so they had Chris Carrabba play guitar for them.
That's actually kind of funny and cool.
Gerard Way almost never did My Chem because he almost became the writer for Spider-Man.
Wow.
He apparently had an offer, but was too worried people would give him way too much shit, so he declined it, and then eventually started My Chem. You know, the rest is history.
I wonder how he almost did Spider-Man at that point.
He was working for DC, and I guess someone from Marvel tried to poach him.
Still, like, that's wild, because, like, he would have been fairly young at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at this point, like, he's done a bunch of comic book stuff. Like, well, one of his series, it was a very popular Netflix show that I think is done now.
No, I think it's got another season this season.
Oh, is there? Okay, I didn't realize there was, like, one more season.
Yeah, I think they're doing one more season.
Oh, wow. It looks like his first published comic was in 1994.
I just looked, and he is like 10 years older than us. So,
but even then, like 20 years ago, he would have been 26. You don't often get 26-year-olds getting offered Spider-Man, even at that point in comics.
Fair.
Like in the early 2000s, it was fair because Spider-Man has almost always been Marvel's flagship book, along with the X-Men. So it's like they give like lesser names stuff like Captain America and Iron Man at the time. But, like, you had to be, like, a known bookseller to get, like, Spider-Man or, like, an X-Men book in, like, the late 90s, early 2000s, because that's all they fucking had going for them at the time. So, yeah, that's a wild thing to hear about. Also, somebody needs to go update the fucking Wikipedia page for Newfound Glory and add Chris Carrabba to the touring substitutes or something like that.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of surprised it wouldn't be on there, But yeah, let's see. Apparently, pretty much everyone at some point in this book shits on Brand New.
Oh, nice.
Or at the very least, maybe not like their music, because everyone there's a pretty wide acceptance of Brand New being one of the like forerunners in the scene. But it seems like everyone fucking hated most of the members of that band.
I was gonna say, from what I know, like, if it's not everybody, there's at least one person in that band that is just a super sack of shit.
Well, I mean, aside from the allegations against their singer, which, I mean, he admitted to.
Okay, that's... I didn't want to say that because I couldn't remember if it was that band or not.
Yes.
But,
But it also seems like the drummer, nobody seemed to have anything bad to say about their drummer. Everyone else in the band at different times would catch comments about being, fuck those guys, I hated them.
Nice.
But their music was, it was like, oh my god, here's this brand new album. Fuck, it's so good. We gotta make something that sounds like this. But fuck their guitarist or whatever. I mean, the biggest feud was between Brand New and Taking Back Sunday. Right, because they're both Long Island bands.
Well, it's also somebody in Brand New was a founding member of Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah, I forget, but
yeah, I don't remember who in the band was, but one of them, like, I don't think they ever did any I don't think anything was ever released with them on it, but like they started with Taking Back Sunday, and then I guess went and did this band. Maybe they got kicked out of
Brand New.
No, of Taking Back Sunday to start Brand New.
Well, and then also there was drama over, like, a girl, because of course there was.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
And then the last other story that I, like, made note of was a story from Bayside. They're talking about, I forget who they were on tour with, Hawthorne Heights, and then I forget who else, but they're going from Colorado to Salt Lake City, and it's in, like, October, November. So the weather sucked, and they hit a patch of black ice. They were in a van. Everyone else on the tour had buses, so they were driving themselves. They hit a patch of black ice, crazy crash. Their drummer dies in the crash, who had just joined the band like that year, and their bassist broke his back.
Oh, Jesus. What band was this again?
Bayside.
Bayside.
Yeah.
Shit.
But I also made note of that story because that was in a chapter of everyone, apparently Victory Records, who a lot of the bands were on, almost everyone fucking hated being there. Apparently the head of Victory Records was kind of a shithead and would like not pay out royalties and do everything he could to not pay royalties. If you go look at the Wikipedia for Victory Records, they got sued constantly.
I mean, that sounds about right.
But they did say that the Victory Records people like paid for the funeral, paid to fly everyone back to the East Coast, be there for the funeral. The head of Victory did at least show up for the funeral. He didn't apparently stay very long, but they were like, yeah, when thinking back on it, it's like he could have just not come at all, but he at least like made an effort to come, be there for a little bit, and go.
Yeah, which it is something.
Yeah. But then also Hawthorne Heights, just more proof that the dudes in Hawthorne Heights are apparently incredibly cool. Bought a new van for Bayside, went to like all the venues after the accident and were like, hey, you, whatever the cut you were gonna take, we need to take it and give it to these guys. Like, here's the shit that happened. They need the money to pay for this and to pay for medical bills, yada yada yada. And then got Bayside, well, Anthony and Jack to be able to come back and do acoustic shows for the last few shows of the tour once they were like, okay. Those two didn't get really injured, but
still, like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's wild though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it like apparently this dude, John, the drummer that had just joined, was like, they're like talking, and he like just left this like jazz band he was in and was starting to have a family, and he was like, oh, this is maybe my last chance to be in a touring band as a career. And then the first tour they have this crazy crash and he dies, and it's like, Jesus.
Yeah, that's rough.
But then Hawthorne Heights going out of their way to just be the nice dude.
Yeah,
like,
they do seem like just a bunch of very nice people.
Yeah.
Because even when we saw them at the Brooklyn Bowl like last March, JT was working their merch table and was like totally cool, like talking with people as they went up. Like, I'm pretty sure Erica got a picture with him, like, and that was after their set. Like he finished the set and then went and worked their merch table. And like they had somebody else there working it beforehand. Like, it's not like he needed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing that emo orchestra thing. Like, they were out, like, I don't know how long they stayed after because the line was insane, but like they came out and like were taking pictures with people after their set.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, like, this isn't like the biggest thing, but when they did their first Ohio is for Lovers festival, they weren't even the headlining band. Like, they could have easily just been like, yeah, it's our festival in Ohio. We're going on last and playing a long ass set, but no, they weren't even the last band on the main stage, like, or they were like the third band on one of the side stages. They were like, yeah, no, we don't need to be, we know we're not the be all end all.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with this year's, like, well, there were like 6 or 7 of them, I think, like around like the country, and they did not headline a single one of them.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, part of that could be like, yes, we understand that like some of the other bands we have on here are probably going to draw a bigger crowd, but also like looking at some of the bands that were probably playing later in the day and with longer sets, like I would argue Hawthorne Heights is larger than them and would probably have the bigger draw. But like they were also running those shows, like they were putting them all together, so maybe they didn't want the hour-long set.
Yeah, no, probably. But
yeah, still like they seem like a swell group of people. Yeah, that sounds like a good book though.
Yeah, you know, I kind of wish some points, like, I knew the direct questions that were asked to get the answers, and like what exactly the dynamic of the interviews was, because it seems like sometimes there's people directly playing off the answers other people gave, and it was like, okay, were like the four of these people on a conference call, or was it just had a bunch of different interviews kind of spliced bits together? So it's like sometimes a little confusing about like, okay, how do we get from this to this? But why is Gabe answering a question now when Anthony from Bayside was just talking? Or like, but otherwise, like, it goes way deep in a whole bunch of shit about emo, and talks about New Jersey a whole lot, because
There
New
were a
Jersey
lot
was,
of
like,
those bands from here.
yeah, well, and to hear like Fall Out Boy say, "Oh shit, we got to finally play in New Jersey," like, or bands just talking about New Jersey being the place to like be recognized, scene is like,
Yeah, I mean, you had a lot. I mean, it was mostly like North Jersey, but
Yeah.
like still, like a lot of that stuff came out of Jersey or like New York City, where they were playing in Jersey. Because I think like wasn't Ferret based in North Jersey?
yeah.
I feel like there was another thing based in Jersey too.
I don't recognize the name from back in the day, but I believe it's Eyeball Records is one of the small indie labels that a lot of these bands started with. They were also North Jersey. They got mentioned in the book a whole bunch.
Okay. Yeah.
They had their recording studio was just a house that bands could stay at for a little while they recorded, and apparently was one of the big, everybody just kind of goes there and hangs out and collaborates.
Yeah, I just looked them up. Like, they had Thursday, My Chem, like they had bands from that area, like that they released stuff for. So that definitely makes sense. Yeah, that's cool. I own the ebook for that. And it's one of those, like, I have it and I just haven't actually started it.
Yeah, it's a quick read. You'll get through it real fast.
How long is it? Because I haven't like even looked at that.
It's like 400 something pages, but it just flows because you're just seeing all these people just be excited talking about shit.
Yeah, and I guess it's an interview, and there's probably like pictures and stuff interspersed.
Actually, there's only one, at least in the hardback. There's just one little section of a handful of pictures.
Oh, okay. I kind of thought it was going to be one of those books where, like, as they were talking about different eras, there'd be like pictures of like the bands and the like shows from like those time frames or something.
Yeah, you would think, no, but yeah, there's just a little section in the middle. Like they have a picture of the Nintendo Fusion Tour laminates that from Motion City Soundtrack. One of them sent a picture of that because Motion City Soundtrack, all the bands that weren't Fall Out Boy on that 05 Nintendo Fusion Tour had a different laminate than the Fall Out Boy guys got. Fall Out Boy had like whatever, all access. Everyone else had support.
Were you talking about this recently?
I think I probably mentioned it the other day when I got to that. Or
okay.
When I first got the book, and just real quick, there's an index in the back, so I went and looked, and I was like, oh, hey, Boys Night Out gets referenced. And
you did,
very
okay,
little
yeah.
bit was just, like, Motion City Soundtrack, I forget who it was from Motion, going, yeah, we liked hanging out with Fallout, or with Starting Line and Boys Night Out. We didn't really get to hang out with Fallout Boy.
Yeah, so I remember like the badge, like the pass thing, and I'm like, this sounds so familiar, but I don't remember why. But now, like, I remember like looking at the appendix and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that sounds like a good book. Right up Richie's alley too. Nonfiction about music he doesn't care for.
Let me tell you, I like emo music. Not all of it, but I like emo music. But boy, am I glad you chose Ray Dedinger's book and not this book to be a book to read, because this book would probably have been less of my interest than any. Because I like music, I like listening to music. I cannot talk music, and I don't want to read about music.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you really don't want to read nonfiction, is what you like at all.
Yeah.
But no, I honestly, I think I thought this, like, the idea of this book sounded neat when I saw it originally. That's why I had like grabbed the ebook for it.
Mm-hmm.
But like hearing like what it actually is, like I'm definitely more interested even now.
Yeah, it's cool, and like I said, it goes year by year. It's like 99 and 2000 is one section of the book. 01 and 02 is the next section. 03 and 04 the next one. 05 gets its whole own section, and then 06 through 08 the last section. It's also made me go back and listen to a bunch of albums, or at least handfuls of songs from albums if I just haven't felt like going through the whole thing, because it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't listened to that much Say Anything, and here's a whole bunch of people talking about how Max is like just this genius of writing songs that are super subversive.
Yeah, I don't know that I've really listened to much Say Anything either.
They talk, I mean, one of the chapters is called Defense of the Genre, and it's basically talking about Max writing that album after people started shitting on emo, and he's like, no, fuck it, I love emo, and I'm gonna just shit on all these people talking shit on it.
Nice.
And he got different people from all sorts of different bands to sing guest vocals on like every song on that album, and it's like a 27 song album. It's a fucking hour and a half long.
That's aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, I mean, good, you know what? Good for them. Like, that's pretty cool. But also, like, damn. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, so it released as 2 discs.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who do I recognize on here? All right, so it's got Adam from Taking Back Sunday, Haley from Paramore, Chris Carrabba from Further Seems Forever, Gerard Way, Matt Skiba, some guys from Newfound Glory. Wow, yeah. Really did have, like, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think I've probably heard some of the songs on that, but I don't know that I've ever actually listened to it.
Yeah, I had never listened to really anything. I'd listened to very little Say Anything before reading it.
Now you're like, here's a new band I'm going to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to see them this year, so.
Oh, really? Where are they playing?
Yeah, Fillmore.
Oh, nice.
I think, pretty sure.
Oh yeah, and they've been back together for just over a year, almost 2 years. 2022 is all Wikipedia says.
Is Fred currently in the band?
Yes. I mean, there is a Fred in the band.
Okay. The touring member is Fred Masciero, who was in Taking Back Sunday and Breaking Pangea. Yeah, he's at least a touring member for Say Anything right now.
Rich, what's your favorite Say Anything song?
That one.
All right, I'll allow it.
Alive with the Glory of Love is about the Holocaust, Richie. There you go. It's got history to it.
There you go. That's absolutely my favorite. 100%.
It's a pretty good song.
Oh yeah, I just looked up their website. Yeah, they're playing the Fillmore in May.
Yep.
Should be a good time. Do you know who they're playing with?
I don't remember.
Their site doesn't, at least like the page that lists all the dates
yeah.
doesn't say. I wonder if Ticketmaster says.
Probably not.
Hey, if you click on the I know it might be just them.
Hold on. If anyone's going to... let me check Spotify. Their thing usually is pretty good about...
Well, Ticketmaster and Live Nation usually show who is listed for the event when you click on more info.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That show is sold out, too.
Oh, yeah.
$200 resale right now.
Nice.
Is it?
I mean, no, but...
Is there anything else you want to say about the book, though?
Nah, I think that covers it.
Well, Rich, in that case, would you like to talk a little bit about it's the Long Dark, right?
Yeah, the Long
and
Dark. And
Subnautica.
But first, we were talking concerts. As you guys were talking, I jumped onto Facebook real quick, and I got a StubHub notification about the Stardew concert. Don't look them up. How much do you think I could get tickets for the Stardew concert?
$300.
Drew?
Where is it?
Where is it, Cobb?
The Man in Philly.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. 75
on StubHub. On StubHub. And this is for a sold out show. That people are reselling on StubHub.
I'm gonna stick with the lowest being 75.
And Cobb, you said 300?
Yeah.
$586 for one ticket.
That's the lowest price right now.
That's the only price.
That's insane. Where does it say what seats they are?
I looked. It was, I don't know. It was like a balcony or something. I don't remember.
Okay, so not orchestra seating. Is it the nighttime one or the afternoon?
It was the 5 o'clock show.
So afternoon in the balcony, $500.
$586.
That's absurd.
Per ticket. So if you and your partner wanted to go, you need $1,000 to see a Stardew Valley concert.
Man, it was less expensive to go to Adjacent for 2 days.
Right?
with the fancy VIP tickets at that.
I mean, I'll just play the game. I don't need to see. I $560. I'll just play the game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, those tickets were absurd. Like, I managed to grab them because like it was like a gift for Erica. So like I was on there at 10 o'clock or whenever they went on, and the site was just a fucking disaster. It kept crashing. Like they had no idea. They were not prepared for it at all. And like their ticket buying site's garbage to begin with. And I think you tried to do it 2 hours later, maybe 3.
I think I tried to do it throughout the whole day, and at one point I was like even 10 minutes. It was like throughout the day I kept trying, and like it kept crashing initially, and then it was saying there were no tickets available, but then it was saying there was tickets available. Tickets that were available were only ADA tickets, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going and sitting on the floor at the ADA area. Like it's like how like a movie theater has that spot for a wheelchair. That's kind of the stuff that they had available. And it's just like, well, this sucks. I don't get to see the concert of one of my favorite games of all time.
And I've never even played the game.
Yeah. So give me your ticket. I'll go with your way.
Right. I like music more than you do, though, so I think it works out.
But I like the game more than you.
You don't know that. I could love that game if I played it.
You've never played it, though.
That's actually a lie. I have actually played Stardew.
You're not going to recognize any of the music. You're not going to... You're just going to sit there and be like, oh, I don't know what's going on.
Look, I went to the community center. I met a wizard. Like, I played enough that game to understand it.
No.
I cleared some bushes.
You need more time in that game.
I planted some flowers.
But yeah, I'm so bitter about that. $586 per fucking ticket.
Yeah, dude,
this sucks.
The resale is fucking terrible. Like, Drew, do you remember how much those Say Anything tickets were?
Relatively cheap, like $40 maybe.
Yeah, and now they're $200, $40 to $200 for general admission, standing room only. Like, fuck resale.
Yeah.
Like I saw something corporate just had like they did like 2 shows on like the 30th and 31st in California. And they were like pushing a resale site, but it was face value ticket. They're like, don't go to scalpers if you can, like, go here. These are legitimate tickets that people can't go to the show, and they're being sold for like face value. I'm like, you know what? That's cool. Like that is an okay way to do it. As long as like the people are also getting like I'm hoping when it's face value, it includes the service fees, because that would suck if people had to sell their tickets and not even get the service fees back.
Mm-hmm.
But like to sell it for a 400% markup, no, those people can go get fucked.
Yeah.
But Rich, how is do you want to start with the Long Dark?
Yeah, so for those of you who might not have been paying too much attention or keeping track, back in April, when I did my month of Apex, I wanted to create additional content for people who didn't care to watch Apex. So I started doing Let's Plays of The Long Dark on YouTube, and I totally expected that to go like for a month, not even. Like, I have played runs of The Long Dark where I died within 10 minutes. I've played runs of The Long Dark and I've only generally would sit down and I would play it just that one time for like 6 hours, still not die, or reach a point of equilibrium where it's like, all right, well, I can't die where I'm at now, so I'm fine. And so I decided to finally do a Let's Play, start making some Let's Play stuff, when I back in April, and 42 episodes later, not 42 weeks though, because there were a few weeks. There were a couple of weeks where I was doing 2 episodes. But 42 episodes later, it finally came to its end. Each episode averages anywhere between 25 to 40 minutes long. So,
am I misremembering, or did you have another survival game you were doing too, like that you were alternating between?
I mean, I am doing, or even prior to the Subnautica, it was The Long Dark for a while, and then it was 7 Days to Die and The Long.
Okay, I'm thinking of 7 Days to Die. I remember seeing those also.
Yeah. I mean, 7 Days to Die, I've had now 3 series go, and 7 Days to Die, 1 because of a catastrophic issue with the save that crashed, 1 because I actually died twice, and it's a permadeath series, and then this one that I'm currently going now, that I'm about to reach day 10. It just recorded day 9 today. But The Long Dark, it was the whole idea was I'll play about an hour or so a day until I die, as long as I can, and cut every hour into a half hour or less, turned into a half hour or more, and just see where this can go. and it's kind of sad to see my first series officially end. I feel like I might have forced that ending. And I the way it ended, I'm a little dissatisfied because there was just like, so what happened? If you guys have never played The Long Dark, which the two of you I don't believe ever have, it is a straight up survival game. There's no there's crafting, but there's no base building. It is, you have to break into houses that are uninhabited and sleep in those houses, sleep in those buildings, and you have to worry about your food, your health, your temperature, because it takes place, you're in Alaska, or no, you're in Canada. You're like in the Canadian wilderness, the deep north, or the far north. And you're just stuck on, like, I guess it's like a peninsula or an island or something after your plane crashed, and you have to deal with wolves that'll come and attack you, timber wolves that'll like hunt you in packs, bears, mooses, deer. You'll see, like, there's no squirrels, but there's rabbits that you can catch and eat and things like that. And you just have to survive. That is literally the whole point of the game. For the most part, there are story modes. There are story and chapters that are in there, but all I did was sandbox. And you just explore and survive for as long as possible. Making sure that your armor, and not your armor, but your clothes, your equipment don't break. Making sure to clean the guns out that you get so that they don't jam. And like just constantly worrying about food or warmth or water or this or that, the other. And it like, so there would be times where, like, even in the 42 episodes, which were roughly recorded over the course of almost about 50 plus hours.
It's kind of crazy how long you can actually get some of these to go.
Yeah. There were several instances where I was very near death. And I was able to come out alive. I was able to, like, there were like 3 or 4 times I just got lost out in a blizzard. Severely lost out in a blizzard. And, like, I barely found my way home. Barely made my way home. I was attacked by, like, 4 bears or something like that. And, like, what ended up killing me was, the second to last episode, I get attacked by a moose. And I had just uncovered an area that I've never been in ever in any of my playthroughs. And a set of crafting for gunsmithing that I've never been able to do in that area. But in order to get to that gunsmithing bench, I needed to climb a rope. But because I got attacked by a moose, he broke my ribs. And you can't climb ropes when your ribs are broken in this game. Obviously, like, that would be extremely painful.
I just love that. I got attacked by a moose.
I got attacked by a moose. I did nothing to the moose. The moose saw me, and I'm just like, I'm just going to leave you be. And I kept walking around, and he charges me, and I get attacked by the moose. So, the mechanic for the moose healing is you bandage yourself up, you wrap your ribs, and then you just kind of gotta wait. You just gotta wait it out, but you literally have to wait. There is no, like, if you're walking, if you're hunting, if you're exploring, that does not track down your timer. Reading, sleeping, and waiting are all you can do. Reading, sleeping, cooking, and waiting are all you can do in order to count this timer down. So, I came in with the idea of, alright, I'm gonna record, and I'm going to just work. I'm gonna speed run through this, and I'm not gonna, like, do a lot, because I just want to recover from, it's like 100 and something hours in game time, obviously, of healing that you need to do. So I think I recorded for 2.5 hours before I realized that my timer wasn't going down as fast as it should have been because I was active. And it wasn't until, I think it took me in game 13 days to get through the broken ribs, which, I mean, that's great. You can't heal broken ribs in 13 days in real life. But, like, in a game mechanics, 13 days, that's a long time. That's a lot of food. And that's just a lot of literally doing nothing. I recorded for 2.5 hours that I couldn't use. There was nothing to use there. So I cut that into, like, I started doing, like, little, like, previews of, like, something that might happen in the episode at the beginning. And I cut that montage into the beginning of me just fishing and hunting and cooking and sleeping and fishing and hunting and cooking and sleeping and whatever else. And then I explain, like, yeah, I've been recording for 2.5 hours, but I'm finally recovered. I'm gonna go kill this moose because he wasted 2.5 hours of my life.
So, how long is like a day cycle?
It depends on what you're doing, because the whole game is very time based. So even if you're just walking around, a day cycle, I don't know, maybe an hour. But if you're being active, if you're skinning animals, if you're fishing, if you go fishing, ice fishing, you set that you're going to fish for an hour. That hour takes place over the course of 30 seconds. But also, if you say you're going to go ice fishing for 4 hours, those 4 hours take place over the course of 30 seconds. It's just a bar that circles, and the time goes on as you're doing it, and it fast forwards time. So it really depends on what you're doing. I don't know the actual,
okay,
amount of time.
I thought it was a lot of those, the games that have, the day, where, you're doing things by the day, where it's, a day is X amount of time, so,
No, so it's not like 7 Days to Die, where it's, a day in 7 Days to Die. A 24-hour period is an hour. There's no sleep cycle or anything There's just, from day to night, from midnight to midnight is 24 hours. Whereas, in The Long Dark, and there's a couple of other survival games, but it's primarily only done in single-player survival games. It'll fast-forward time as you're doing things. If I played Project Zomboid, that'd be the same thing. If you go to sleep, it'll sleep you through the night. If you're reading a book, it'll fast-forward you reading through the book. If you're doing things, if you're, repairing things, it'll actually take time out of the day.
Okay.
I like those kinds of survival games. I want to find more of them, because that adds a little bit of all right, well, I still have to figure out how to repair this, but I also have to eat while I'm repairing it. And this takes 20 hours to craft. So for me playing the game, the 20 hours goes by in a minute or two. But for my character, I have to worry about making sure they're fed enough to do it over 24 hours, or do I split it up every 4 hours and things like that. I've talked to other friends about this game, and they've turned around and been like, I would hate that game. I'm you say that until you play it. This is just one of those games where, you'll get lost in it. It's not a particularly very beautiful game, but it can have some beautiful scenery. It's just the art style doesn't lead to it being, the most spectacular looking thing out there. But yeah, so I decide to go kill this moose, and I have to go all the way back to where the moose originally attacked me and walk around the area where the moose attacked me to get to the gunsmithing bench to make some bullets, to make ammo, basically. And I crafted 30-something revolver shells, and I could have crafted more. And my dumbass, I forgot my hunting rifle, which I had 9 hunting rifles. And this is where I screwed up. I could have been all right, I'm gonna go get my hunting rifle, come back, and then fight the moose. No, I was fuck this. This moose is dying today. And so I go after the moose, and I spend all 36 rifle bullets into this moose, and I kill it. And I'm feasting on this moose, and I skin it. And
it was rabid, and you died?
No, but he attacked me once or twice, so he broke my ribs again when I was fighting him. So when your ribs are broken, you have a limited to how much you can carry. Your stamina bar is limited as well. And so I ended up with 0 ammo and nothing on me, with a hawk of moose meat, which puts out a scent, and timber wolves, which are wolves that won't just pounce on you and fight you. They will just snap at you a bit here and there. They decided to come and attack me after I finished fighting the moose.
So in this case, they did attack you.
So a horde, but that's what they'll do. They'll come, they'll bite at you and run away, whereas other wolves will jump on you, pounce on you, and ravage you. So I got attacked once or twice, and I didn't have any equipment on me because I left a bunch of stuff behind, so my weight was low as possible, so I could run and move faster. And I needed a bandage to wrap up my bleeding whatever they bit me. And I go into this building, and not even thinking about it, since I didn't have any cloth on me, I find a pillow to rip apart, to turn into cloth, turn into a bandage, and as I'm tearing apart the pillow, I bleed out, and I die.
That sucks.
I'm like, man, this is both satisfying because I killed that fucking moose, but also very unsatisfying because it wasn't like I wasn't panicking. I didn't think I was going to die. I didn't think cutting apart cloth was going to take that long to stop me, like, that I wasn't going to stop from bleeding out. And so it was a bummer. It's a bummer. I absolutely love that game. It's fantastic. You love survival games, you'll definitely love this one. But it's just like, I had so many other close calls. I got attacked by a bear 3 times in one day or something like that, and still didn't die. The literal 2 days before, the day before the first moose attack, I almost died by getting attacked by a wolf that I wasn't expecting to see. And then walking on top of live electrical wires that I didn't realize were going to burn me. In a panic. Like, that would have been a really satisfying death. Like, I finally get into this building, and then, oh, there's a wolf there, apparently, which the community has dubbed Fluffy, is always in one of the 2 rooms that have these crafting benches. And it's just like, oh, there's a wolf, and he ravages me, and I die right there. I'm like, that would have been a much more satisfying. Like, this is still a satisfying ending, because it was 42 episodes. I was hoping to get to at least 50, but, again, I think I kind of, like, rushed things because I spent so long playing with 0 to make of it that, like, I kind of rushed things, and, like, I shouldn't have done that. And I even thought about, like, releasing the uncut 3-hour episode of me just surviving. It would have been a lot of just playing the game, because I purposely wasn't talking when I was doing that part, because the plan was every morning I would wake up and catch people up, like, hey, here's what I did yesterday, and here's, and like, just find
so it's easier to not
content.
have your, like, talking going on there.
Yeah, just find way to make content out of, like, quick updates. Like, here's what I did yesterday, and here's how things are going, and here's
You were
how,
basically vlogging.
Yeah, but, like, I was also expecting to recover from 130 hours of a broken rib in 7 days, not 13. So after about like the 9th day, and I'm still suffering from 2 broken ribs, actually. But the times count down the same time. It's not separate times that are count down. So they're both, if you have 2 broken ribs, if you have any elements that have a timer, they all count down at the same time. It's not one at a time. So I had 2 broken ribs, both at 100, one was like 140 hours, one was 130 hours, or something like that. But yeah, so I feel like I feel like I kind of dropped the ball in, like, the whole, like, I kind of gave up. I shouldn't have gone after the moose, being as angry as I was, and after feeling I had wasted that much time, but I feel like it was a good ending. A lot of people really liked the series. It actually got some decent views. If I remember correctly, I'd actually have to go back and check. There were some episodes, like, I was getting comments on the show where it's like, yeah, I've never heard of this game before, I've never seen it, and YouTube decides to suggest me watch it 40 episodes, or like 38 episodes in, or something like that. I guess I'm here now, and I'm going to follow. And I'm like, I appreciate the follow. Thank you, YouTube.
I vaguely remember you mentioning that before.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if it was on here or, like, on Discord or something.
Yeah.
But how are you enjoying your new one, then, Subnautica?
Subnautica. Hold on. I think, was that line? Was it only 41 episodes? I thought it was, unless I didn't add the last episode to the playlist. I know, it was 42. So for some reason, YouTube's only saying 41. But, like,
YouTube is dumb.
YouTube is dumb. One of my episodes reached 102 viewers so far. Like, that's the highest view. My first episode was 117 views.
Nice.
Which is, like, wild. 9 likes. Like, people like that series, like that show, I like that game. Subnautica is fun. It's another survival game, but this one is actually very story based.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Subnautica is not. It can be sandbox, but it is not strictly sandbox. It is a story based. It is a story based game where you crash land on a planet that's just basically water world. There's like a couple of islands, and you have to survive until rescue comes. At the point that just released, rescue should be coming soon. So, like, my Let's Play, like, I'm 3 episodes in. I recorded today more, but I'm 3 episodes in, and I'm expecting to get rescue soon. Hints for next episode. The rescue ship should be landing by the end of next episode. So it's like, it makes you think that it's going to be a quick game, but it's very misleading because of stuff that happens. And I'm trying to be a little coy because I don't want to, like, obviously people
You don't want to spoil your new show.
I don't want to spoil my new show. Like, obviously people who've played this game or who know this game know what happens. I've seen other people play this game, so I knew what was coming up, so like I kind of planned it to be that way as well. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's just this one, it's a lot of downtime and grinding for material. It's not like other survival games where like you can just get by like, you know, investigating different areas, because it relies very heavily on crafting. And I just got to a point in today's recording where I'm like, all right, it's time to build a base. It's time to actually start building a base. And so I recorded for an hour and a half, and I spent probably a good 45 minutes figuring out like some base mechanics here and there to base build, to put together some sort of a base. And it's a cool game. It's got a very interesting story. Like I said, I've seen other people play it. I kind of know how the story goes. And basically there were previous inhabitants to this island that were humans, but then there were also alien inhabitants beyond just the natural wildlife that you encounter. And there's some sort of virus on this island. By the episode that I'm at, I discover that I have some sort of bacteria within me from being on this island, some sort of alien bacteria. But it is yeah, I don't really know what else to say. If you don't really know, because it's a survival game for the most part. I'm only like 5 hours into it, give or take. And I, like, because it's a story-based game, when it comes to doing a Let's Play for a story-based game, I'm still trying to, like, figure out how to piece that together. I'm also trying to figure out how to make it entertaining to watch, when a lot of the game is like, oh, I gotta find these materials now. And I knew that going in. For instance, when you get the submarine can only go to a depth of about 200 meters. Then to go further below, you need to craft upgrades for your submarine. So I need to find the upgrade bench to be able to upgrade my submarine. I need to find the schematics for a moon pool so that I can dock my submarine into my base so that I can upgrade my submarine. I need to find the mechanics for the upgrades themselves. So it is a lot of like, all right, uncovering the surface and then going a little bit further, and then finding supplies again, and then going a little bit further. So it is very like back and forthy kind of. Like I said, I spent 45 minutes on just moving to a new base, gathering all my supplies from one base and moving it to a new base. And it's like it can be a little slow at times, I guess. But it's a fun game. There is a way. I think there's a difficulty where like you can set it to where they make it a little bit easier if you don't want to worry about the crafting and survival, and it's just you want the story. You still have to worry about like crafting and getting supplies, but like you don't have to worry about your food and your water rates. What they turn that on.
Okay.
This is not a permadeath series that I'm doing though, because this is it's my first time playing this game, and I am not that good at this game to be like, all right, well I'm gonna play permadeath because I actually want to know the story. Now maybe sometime down the line, if I get good enough, I can do a permadeath playthrough. But right now, it's just I'm playing.
You want to experience it first.
I want to experience it. I mean, the way I'm experiencing it right now at 1 hour spurts for the first time, I don't know how well that's going to go for me. I might start trying to record differently. I might try to record like 5 or 6 episodes at a time and just play for an entire day. And I have like a to be continued screen cut together, so that if I'm like recording several episodes at once, I can just hit it to be continued. So it's like, hi, this is episode, then like in the description be like, this is episode, say like episode 14, but this episode 14 through 17 were all recorded in the same session. That's why there's no intro or there's no outro or whatever in this, because it's just me playing straight through. So be sure to come and check out all of these or something like that. Because I already did that. My second recording session went into 2.5 hours, and I was like, I need to figure out how I can cut this into 2 episodes. I can't do 2.5 hours and have 1 episode from it.
Sure you
There's
can.
no
It
way.
would just be a Would be a very
would've-
long episode.
It would have been an hour and 20-minute long episode because I think they each came out at about 35 to 40 minutes. That was me cutting down as best I could. And like this week's episode it's probably going to end up only being the one that I just recorded. Probably going to end up only being like maybe my shortest episode at about 20 to 25 minutes because I really only uncover stuff initially. And then I'm like, all right, well, it's moving day, guys. We're going to build. We're going to craft build. We're going to base build. And then we'll do some uncovering stuff next time or something like that. So that's the joy of survival games, especially survival Let's Plays, is sometimes there's going to be those episodes of like, yeah, this is what I need to do to play the game right now. So this is what I'm going to do. And I might jump on sometimes just to grab equipment or grab gear. But the way this game works, you are occasionally just given locations to explore by your AI, like messages from other pods that crash landed, and it's like, oh, here's this one, here's that one. It's like, all right, well, I'm not going to want to have this on my HUD, or I'm not going to want to be able to find something. Like I can't. The way this game works when it comes to being a Let's Play, you have to scan several of an object in order to get its schematics to craft it. So I don't want to actually find those schematics off air and be like, oh, by the way, guys, I played for like 3 hours and I got some of these schematics. So like I can't really just base build or supply gather before every session because I might run into a thing that I might need and I can't not use it. I can't not scan it if I need it because I may never find it again because I'm not going to remember where it was.
Which, makes sense.
Yeah. But it's a fun game. I enjoy it a lot. It's calming. There's not like a lot of major threats. There are some threats in the game, not like major threats though. I'm at the point of like I don't know where some materials are. I don't know where I can find certain items. So I need to just explore the ocean again. So I need to start making markers to have on my HUD to tell me where things are. I have a scanner room that can't scan for the item that I'm looking to scan for. So I'm like, well, this sucks. I don't know where to find magnetite, and I don't want to look it up right now.
You find magnetite in the electric factory place.
No, magnetite. So they come from the ceiling.
Oh, is that the third evolution?
No. It's
Magnemite, Magneton. Oh, Magnezone is the third evolution. So I guess that's like a fourth one.
Oh no, it's actually magna. Well, there's magnemites are from the ground, and magnetites are coming from the pointy things. In caves.
No, I gotcha.
Okay.
I gotcha.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you got me.
Yeah, I did. I appreciate you making sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a process to learn how to cut this show, and I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to try to get into more games, survival games. Once, like for instance, when I finish Subnautica, I might be leaning towards Stranded Deep, which even though I'm not good at that game, that will be a permadeath series, because to me that game makes no sense to not be. And the game is just so janky as fuck that it'll just make it even better. But that game also has like an actual ending, and it's a story-based survival game. It's not just sandbox.
And when are you starting your Nuzlocke run?
I've had this conversation with Evan at least, and some other people. I don't know. I'm not going to do a Nuzlocke run until I have more time to do recordings and editings. Basically, until I know this can be a viable thing.
Okay.
Because unless I do that on stream and then cut it together on YouTube or as an episode, because there's going to be a lot of just like, all right, I gotta train, I gotta level up my Pokemon, I gotta make them stronger, or oh no, my Pokemon just died, so I now need to pick the next one, which I gotta level them up now, and figuring out and understanding where like maybe the best EV training spots would be. So that I can make them more powerful properly, and like that is a Nuzlocke run is a lot more in depth than it actually seems. Of just pick the first Pokemon you catch in each route.
No, I think that is actually what it is.
But there's a lot more to think about when you're doing it. Is what I'm saying.
That's only if you're gonna overthink it.
No, because you get stuck with whatever the first 6 Pokemon you catch are. and then every Pokemon after that you catch, like, you have to go in that order. You can't swap. When a Pokemon faints, you can't swap out to whatever one you want. You swap out to whatever the next one is you found. And you can only do like one per one per route or whatever. And so it's like, all right, well then leveling up this Pokemon. But even if I'm not trying to overthink it to figure out where the best EV spots are and whatnot, even just leveling up a Pokemon from say 5 to 20 takes like 2 hours. Unless I have like a fast forward mod or whatever game mode bullshit stuff that would be on there to play it faster. But like, it's still, there's a lot of downtime. And there's also, it was just going to be a lot of recording of me sitting there playing the game. So, that would 100% be a vlog style. Here's what I did.
Oh yeah, which makes the most sense.
I would record it with me, like, maybe reacting, and then I would cut it to me, like, scripting it and saying point A, B, C, and D. Here's what happened in this 20-minute episode. But yeah, I don't think a Nuzlocke, at least for me, in the way I cut and edit and am releasing these shows, I don't think a Nuzlocke is going to work for me. Or
the way you overthink it, and you're not just you won't just roll into it and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, like, if anything, a Nuzlocke would work for me on stream better than it would on a Let's Play series.
You know, that's true. Yeah, you could just
something
that do it once a week or whatever.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, when it comes to these Let's Play series, it has to be something that I can play for an hour to an hour and a half once a week and get content out of.
Right.
If I can't do that, like, it's like doing a Let's Play series of like a long ass RPG. Like, all right, maybe I can play. Maybe I can't play an RPG an hour a week and post something. I would need to play like several hours a week to post a Let's Play of that.
Yeah, like, unless you were literally just playing like an hour a day and posting just that unedited hour, essentially.
Yeah. Which then at that point, like, might as well just stream it. Or like, but like, it's say if I wanted to do like a Super Mario Bros. Let's Play, like, I could probably record like, yeah, I'm gonna play Super Mario Bros. And see how good I can get.
But you hate the best games ever made, so you'll never do that.
I said Super Mario Bros. Not Super Mario World.
I thought you didn't like any of them. I thought you just weren't a fan of the platforming.
I mean, not really, but I like the 3D ones more than I like the 2D ones. I'm more of a 3D. When it comes to gaming in general, if it's not 3D, I'm not gonna like it. I'm most likely not gonna have as much fun with it, at least.
What a millennial.
Look, there are you guys are too. There are some like old school 2D games that I still rock, and like some like Stardew Valley, my favorite game of all time. One of my favorite games of all time is a 2D top-down isometric game. Like,
that's different though. Like the top-down and isometric stuff is just like, that is a different style. It's not like a 2D platformer.
But like, even friggin' Hollow Knight is a 2D game. It's fucking beautiful. It's a fantastic game. Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori the Will of the Wisps.
Okay, those are good.
2D games. They're amazing. They're amazing games, but it's just like,
give them credit. They're 2.5D.
Yeah, and maybe that's more
that
what
half does it for you.
Like that slightly addition to dimension does it for me. You're right. Like,
so you just have to play all of your 2D games on a 3DS from now on.
Yeah, maybe, or just not play 2D games anymore. I don't know. I'm gonna do Metroid Fusion soon.
Oh, nice.
I've been wanting to play. I've never played that, so
I think Zero Mission is on the thing too, isn't it?
No, Zero Mission, is that?
I thought
which one is Zero Mission?
Zero Mission is like the updated original Metroid, and you never finished that, right? Because of that one stupid section where like you were just fucked.
Well,
or did you eventually get back to finish it?
No, I never finished the original Metroid, and it wasn't because I was fucked. If I got to a point, it was because if you die, you have to spend 20 minutes or more just getting re-prepared and re-powered up, and I didn't know how to get a Metroid off of me. I was having trouble, and there was like no specific ice beam or anything, if I remember correctly. So like, I didn't want to spend the time to learn that segment to get to Mother Brain. I was just like, fuck this game. But like, it was also the same with like Zelda 2. I played all of Zelda 2 with the exception of getting to Ganon and like beating the game, because to do that in one life or in like 3 lives, it is absolutely unreasonable.
So you're a quitter is what you're saying.
No, collision detection in that game is fucking terrible.
No, I remember seeing you play that when you were trying to play it. But yeah, Zero Mission is like it's the Game Boy Advance remake of the original Metroid, and it's like a legitimate remake. Like they changed a lot. Even the Kraid fight, he is like the big monstery one from like Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion. He's not the weird little dude from the 8-bit version.
Mm-hmm.
And they added a mission where Samus is in the Zero suit, hence why Smash Brothers has Zero Suit Samus. But like knowing that you hadn't like had a great experience with the original 8-bit game, you might like that one more if you're in the mood for it.
I had a decent experience with the original 8-bit game until the end.
That's what I mean.
It's not worth it. It's not worth the frustration at the end, and it's not worth taking that 20 plus minutes every time you die to refill your everything to go and die again, and then spend 20 minutes to refill it all again.
Yeah, that's why you play the one that's got quality of life from 20 years later.
Yeah,
that's also from 20 years ago.
That's not on the Switch though.
Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? I must have actually been playing the Game Boy Advance game then.
Yeah, I mean Fusion's on the Switch, so Fusion came out on the Switch months back, and that's why I'm going to play that at some point.
That's a very good one too.
There's a couple. There's Minish Cap is on the Switch, I believe, or Spirit
also
Tracks,
a great game.
One or the other.
Spirit Tracks was a DS game, so it's Minish Cap. I think the Oracle games might be on the Game Boy.
Time and Seasons. Yeah, those are on there, I believe. And then what was the other one? The Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga RPG is on there, which is amazing, and I want to play that again. So like, there's a couple on there that like I will play and dedicate time to playing, but like generally, if your game's not a 2.5D game, I'm probably not gonna, unless I have severe nostalgia for it. Like I've been begging to get Vector Man on the Sega Genesis emulator. Like I want Vector Man on there. I love that game. That game is fantastic. I also want any of the other Sonics on that fucking system.
What's on there now?
Sonic 2, which I may be the only person who thinks this, but I also didn't really play Sonic 2 a lot. Sonic 2 is my least favorite of the Sonic games on the Genesis.
No, Sonic 2 is actually the best one.
Sonic 3 was my favorite, and Sonic 3, but I didn't have Sonic 2. We had Sonic 1 and we had Sonic 3.
Sonic, I mean, honestly, like Sonic 1 and 2 are very good. I think Sonic 3 is the worst of those. It doesn't look very good, and I don't know. I didn't have a lot of fun with Sonic 3.
I love Sonic 3.
Because you played it as a child.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But you didn't play Sonic 2 as a child. So
no.
Your entire view is skewed.
So I don't know it as well. But it's also just in general, the fucking Switch emulator just sucks. Like,
yeah, I haven't played many of the Sega games on there.
It's not even just, it's all of them. I was playing, what was I playing? Punch Out last week. And like, the timing just is terrible. Like the timing to get, like, there's such input lag in that emulator.
Yeah,
so like I was like,
those games don't play well on modern screens is the problem.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna play Punch Out, like the best way to play Punch Out is to play it on an actual CRT.
And then like most of the there's games that run worse on the emulator on Switch than they did in their actual cartridge version,
which is just awesome. I mean,
yeah.
Like I know at least the NES and SNES emulators, like they weren't even actually made by Nintendo. Nintendo just used open source emulators.
Yeah. And this is probably the hottest take. Most of the art style of most of the SNES games, I cannot stand.
Yeah, that's a bad take.
I like the art style. Like, there's a lot of I've played in every, as far as I can remember, at one point or another, I've played or tried every one of the games that are available, or almost every one of the games that are available on the Switch Online's expansion pass. And most of the SNES games have such a terrible art style that I just can't get it. I'm just like, this looks bad. This just does not look
there
good.
Are plenty of games that did look bad, but the games that looked good still look good.
Well, yeah, like, I'm not saying they look bad now. I'm just saying there are a lot of games on Switch's SNES that just don't look good.
Well, and
in general.
to like a lot of the games that they've put on those emulators are also shit games.
Yeah.
Like if you like look at the actual like good games, and they're the ones that look great. Like the Mario games, the Zelda games, the Metroids. Like those games look good still. But like yeah, random fucking game that Capcom released in 1992 on the SNES. No, that game looks like shit because they coded it in 15 minutes and then just fucking vomited out some pixel art. But anything else either you guys want to talk about?
Nah.
Let's wrap this up then.
I mean, do we want to discuss Mickey Mouse?
I mean, I don't. Do you?
I mean, he's public domain now.
Steamboat Willie is public domain.
I know, but Mickey Mouse started in Steamboat Willie, so the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse, and in time, even Mickey Mouse in himself, within the next probably 5 years or so, will be public domain as well. But Steamboat Willie is public domain, and there's already one horror video game coming out that's Steamboat Willie based, and I saw online that there might be a movie being made that's a horror Steamboat Willie movie. Yeah,
but I mean they did that with Winnie the Pooh too, and that movie was apparently terrible.
Yeah, but it's like it's funny now to me that like Disney's so big that they basically stopped trying to fight the release of their things become public domain. Because they're so big that it's cheaper for them just to let it go than it is for them to fight it anymore.
Well, no, like this, they didn't fight. I would guarantee they'll push against Mickey in general going public domain.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know when it is officially that Mickey Mouse will be public domain. It should be within the next few years because Steamboat Willie was the first Mickey Mouse cartoon.
Yeah, but Nintendo has fought that like whole legislation for decades, and they keep getting like exemptions from it. So Mickey Mouse in general may not actually go public domain for quite a while, or might not be scheduled to go public domain for quite a while. Because like even though Mickey is not as popular as he used to be, he's still like the face of Disney. Like they're not letting that go without a fight.
Yeah,
like a stupid fight, but a fight nonetheless.
But I love that because Steamboat Willie was a public domain. The channel on YouTube Corridor, they just want their most recent video was just an episode of Steamboat Willie, or the episode of Steamboat Willie with Mickey Mouse,
which is silly.
It was like an 8-minute long. It was weird, the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then yeah, like a lot of places are like, this is 100% within what we're allowed to do now that this property is public domain. And right. I'm excited to see what comes from this. I really am. Shove it to Disney. Be like, fuck you guys. We're gonna use because they already pushed this back. I think it was like 15 years ago. They added like 15 years to the timing or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Like they keep getting like court junctions and shit like that to delay their properties going public domain.
Well, but like the what they did, it wasn't just their properties; it was every property. Like they worked with the government to change the legislation. They did it specifically
for themselves. Like they didn't give a shit about anybody else.
Yeah, they did it for themselves, but it was like all properties were no longer that were going to be public domain that year weren't, and then they're not. They stopped fighting it. They're not fighting because they make too much money elsewhere, and it's not worth it to them. Like. How much money they're going to lose from their properties being public domain. Corridor did, or might have been under Corridor Crew, one of their videos. Their like lawyer who actually owns them, or like is like knows a lot about like property rights or public domain rights and IP rights. Like he did a really good video about this whole situation that like. I'll have to send to you guys at some point. It's a good one. I liked it, and it's like him explaining like pretty much. Yeah, they're not gonna fight it anymore. It's not worth it to them. There's no point.
Yeah, that's yeah. Man, fucking Disney, right?
Yeah.
But now I think that is probably a show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Cool. Well. Next week, we will have our next book club, which will be the final time loop episode where we talk about re/member. Whatever the fuck that's going to be. It was my pick, and I don't know. Hopefully it's not terrible. But other than that, if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/OneQuest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of it helps. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/OneQuestOnline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/OneQuestVideo, and you can always send us emails to social@one-quest.com. Rich, what's your streaming?
Twitch.tv/B_Walnuts. We're on video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Baldur's Gate and Sea of Thieves for the foreseeable future. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to have Baldur's Gate finished by the middle of this month. So by like the 19th or 20th. Hoping to have it done like this month, and then we can go on to more games, other RPG, and Shenmue, and whatever else. But that's really all we're playing right now because Baldur's Gate hates me.
Yes, it does. But with that, we'll be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.